A Study in Scarlet. Part 1. Chapter 1. The story begins in 1878 with Dr. John Watson, the narrator, recounting his background. Watson took his medical degree from the University of London and became an assistant surgeon in the British Army. He was dispatched to India, but his regiment had already moved on to Afghanistan by the time he arrived. Watson caught up with his unit, but soon after, the Second Afghan War broke out. During the Battle of Maiwand, Watson was struck by a bullet in the shoulder. His orderly, Murray, bravely rescued him from the battlefield and got him to a hospital in Peshawar. While recovering, Watson contracted enteric fever, which nearly killed him. He was sent back to England on the troop ship Orontes with his health badly damaged. As an invalid with a small army pension of 11 shillings and sixpence per day, Watson drifted to London and took up residence in a hotel, living beyond his means. Realizing he needed to economize, Watson decided to find shared lodgings. By chance, he ran into an old acquaintance named Stamford at the Criterion Bar. Over lunch, Watson mentioned his search for affordable rooms. Stamford replied that another man had expressed the same desire that very day. Stamford's friend was looking for someone to split the cost of some nice lodgings he had found but couldn't afford on his own. Stamford warned Watson that the man, a Mr. Sherlock Holmes, was a bit eccentric. He worked in the chemical laboratory at the hospital where Stamford was a dresser. Holmes had deep knowledge of chemistry and anatomy, but appeared to be neither a practicing doctor nor a regular medical student. When Watson pressed Stamford for more information about Holmes's background and line of work, Stamford could provide little, saying Holmes was not easy to draw out about himself. Nonetheless, Watson was intrigued and eager to meet him. Stamford took Watson to the hospital laboratory to introduce him to Holmes. They found the young man engrossed in a chemical experiment. Holmes had discovered a test that could detect the presence of hemoglobin, providing a simple way to identify bloodstains, even very old ones. Holmes was overjoyed by the potential of his discovery for forensic detective work in criminal investigations. After Holmes demonstrated his test, Stamford made the introductions. Holmes immediately discerned that Watson had been in Afghanistan, much to Watson's astonishment. The two men agreed to view the rooms at Baker Street together, as they discussed their various quirks, including Holmes's pipe smoking, chemical experiments, and violin playing, and Watson's bull-pup and aversion to arguments. Both seemed to think they would be compatible flatmates. Watson and Holmes planned to meet the next day at noon to finalize the arrangements. As Watson and Stamford departed, Watson asked his friend how Holmes could have possibly known about his time in Afghanistan. Stamford just smiled, saying that was his little peculiarity, and many wondered how Holmes discovered things. Deeply intrigued, Watson looked forward to unraveling the mystery that was his new acquaintance, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.